One and a two and a three.
Do you know what rips, bro? I'm just ripping off other people that my wife is showing me from TikTok. I'm Chris. I'm the Long Box Punk, and welcome to a brand new live stream here on Monday, whatever day it is in September as of the live date of this, or whatever day you're watching or listening to this in the future. So I've got Zack with me. Zack, thanks for hanging out with me on a Monday. I'm glad that we were able to get this scheduled like 7 years ago. And
I know, yeah.
Finally here.
I feel like people wouldn't even believe how long ago we scheduled this, because I didn't even. It was like a daredevil scheduling, because I was like, I think I'm gonna have the book done by this date and launched by this date 7 months ago, and it all happened exactly as planned.
Love it when a plan comes together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate the forward thinking, because I've unfortunately been telling too many people recently, like my schedule's closed, like I'm completely booked. Plus I take December off, for reasons.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it's stupid, right? Like it's just so busy. I'm not a huge fan of. I'm trying to be a fan of Christmas, but I'm the Grinch and Ebenezer Scrooge. If you rolled into one character, that's me basically every year, except for like the third act where the heart grows and all that stuff. It's usually just like, is it done yet? Like, it's so stressful. So I just took the month of December off. If you're new to the show or a new subscriber as of this year and you missed that last year, I don't do any shows in December. So there's that. But I do shows with awesome creators that make awesome horror comics like you, Zack. And you are currently kickstarting Macabre Valley issue number 1. Now, this is a spinoff of the Death of a Comics bookcase, right?
Yeah, it's spinning out of that. The first story in that was a collection of short comics I kickstarted last year, and the first story in it was the first 8 pages of Macabre Valley. So what we've done is we've taken those pages and now filled it out into a full 32-page first issue, kind of finishing the story we started there and like launching a new mini series.
Yeah, because when I read the to be continued in the Death of Comics bookcase, I was like, man, are you kidding me? Come on. But I'm glad that it's here and that it's happening and that you've got the Kickstarter. We've got the Kickstarter campaign linked in the description below. So it's super easy for you to, you can do that and it'll open in its own window. So you'll still be able to listen to us talk about the book and the process and why horror comics are the best comics and all of those things. And also you can be backing the campaign right now. So you can do that. You can also vote for me for the CBC Awards. That's the Comic Book Community Awards here on YouTube. And over at the cbcawards.org, I have been nominated as a finalist for the most engaging host for YouTube channels under 500 subscribers. So you can go vote for me. That link is also down there. So there's the business part. Now we can just kick back and sip Mai Tais and have a good time. I don't drink Mai Tais. I'll sip my... what do I get? Black raspberry sparkling ice water.
That sounds refreshing enough.
It really is. I always used to like scoff at sparkling waters and spritzers. And now it's like almost exclusively what I drink if I'm not drinking water. Like it
happens as you get older,
Yeah, that's what rips, dude. That guy is so on point. I don't even know his name. I don't even care either. But I know your name, Zack. And here's what I want to know though, because I don't. What's your origin story? Like, how did you get into comics? You do a whole lot of stuff. You're always reading and posting and writing about, talking about comics, but then you're creating comics. Like, where did all this start for you?
Yeah. I mean, I was into comics as a kid. Like, I got Uncanny X-Men from the grocery store where I grew up. And back then, you could get your parents to send a check to Marvel, and they would send you X-Men in the mail every month. So I
Yep.
was like 8 or 9 years old, getting X-Men monthly as a subscription. And I continued reading comics up through my teen years and into my early 20s. And then I kind of fell out of it a little bit because life gets crazy in your 20s, or it can. It did in
Yep.
mine. And, and then as I got older and kind of settled down a little bit and had a steady job and got married, like, I started to read more and more comics again. Like, they found their way back into my life, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and my day job is as a editor. Like, I work for a trade journal, which is kind of a dull thing to write about. It's like an industry thing. And so I was looking to combine one of my favorite hobbies with writing and have a little fun with it. So I started getting involved in comics journalism. And that was like 2018 or so. And I haven't stopped doing it ever since. Like, I do this weekly column called Top Comics to Buy, where I read like all the advanced review copies the publishers send out. Like, I read them on my
Yeah.
tab. I read like 20 of these things every week, no exaggeration. I've been doing that for almost 7 years now. So
Dude, I don't know how you have time. You must be a fast reader, because I could barely keep up when I was working with Nerd Initiative. I could barely keep up with like the 3 titles they wanted me to cover, and I was just like, it's too much.
I do 3 every morning when I eat breakfast, no matter what. Like,
Oh
and
wow.
so
Okay.
that's like that's 21 a week right there. If you read
Yeah.
3 comics in the morning. So that's kind of my secret to it.
All right. I don't function in the mornings. I'm not even gonna lie to myself.
Yeah.
It's lucky. That's why I have a standing desk, because usually I'll get in the shower and then I'll stand here and like try and catch up on emails as I'm standing and like forcing one eye to be awake. So if you saw my update that I sent out this morning, if there's typos, my bad. I was running like 3 hours of sleep. So sorry about
You're
it.
good, man. I didn't see any typos. I didn't read it. I didn't proofread it like a hawk or anything, but I didn't see any
Great.
typos.
I mean, listen, as an editor, it feels like everything that you read, you're judging. Is that is that the case?
Not really. I mean, like, cause I'm so used to like internet communications. Like, I don't really like text and email and stuff like that. It's like when someone submits a piece, that's when I get very judgy about
Mm,
it. It's not any
got it.
other people can breathe easy, any other communication.
Do you have like a snooty, like crushed velvet jacket with the leather elbow pads that you sit with a smoker's pipe, and yeah, as you're reading the pieces, and with a scarf? I don't know. I'm trying to think of the most
I
pretentious
should,
things that
right?
I'm
Yeah,
editing
I should
here.
put I should put all that on for like Wolverine 37 or whatever for editing pieces about Wolverine.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a totally normal thing to do. I don't know why everybody doesn't get into character when they're doing their jobs that
Like,
are
wear the costume that you'd see
yeah.
yeah, that you imagine as a kid or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what, as a warehouse worker now, I would be wearing like overalls. I don't know.
Like, like a jumpsuit kind of
Yeah.
thing, I feel
Okay.
like.
Like,
Yeah.
so basically just my Slipknot costume from like 15 years ago. Got it. Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah, great.
Yeah.
I'll just pull that out. No, I cut it up and made it a Dragon Ball Z thing. Never
Oh,
mind.
nice.
So, yeah, so my grandfather, I don't know why, but he had jumpsuits like in every color. But he didn't
Like a
like
closet full of them or something?
yeah, like after he passed, they were just like in this like hidden little thing in my nana's basement. And as a curious kid, I was like, what's behind that? And she was like, I don't even know at this point. So we put it out, and there's like a bright orange jumpsuit and like a faded blue. And I have since turned both of those into Michael Myers and a Gohan costume. And
Nice.
it's like, thanks, Grandpa. Never your intention, but here we are.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So tell me, for those that don't know, tell me about Macabre Valley. Like, what's the story, and is it actually based on time that you were a reporter? Like, is this based on real life stuff? Like, do you know a priest werewolf?
So the way I've been telling people is it's based on real experience I had with adult werewolves.
Got
Is,
it.
is-
Okay.
but a lot of the stuff in the book, like the
Good. That's good. Yeah.
the setting and the things the narrator talk about are all based on like real experiences of mine. I've just layered in like some of my favorite kind of pulp horror stuff.
Yeah.
But I did
And
know
when
a priest
you
who would
when you
adopt dogs and stuff. He just never turned into a werewolf.
they could have been his pack, right? Like that's I mean, it's just did he like keep him on leashes, or was he just like the alpha
No,
through and through where he would walk and they all just followed him?
exactly like that. Like this guy had adopted like 20 stray dogs, right? And he would nurse them back to health and stuff, and they followed him everywhere he went. Like he would go in to say mass, and there'd be
That's
like 8
awesome.
dogs walking around his feet, and they'd like sleep at the altar while he said mass the whole time. It was pretty wild.
Talk about a crazy like going to a church anyway can be really intimidating. If you go in and there's a bunch of dogs just sleeping at the altar, I would probably be like, nah, nope, I'm just gonna no, you're good. That's awesome. So like
He was
what's
a character. He was a real character.
that's I love that. And you just turned him into a werewolf, which is even better
Yeah,
because werewolves are great. Have you read
yeah, exactly.
um I'm gonna apologize now. I don't know why I'm all over the place. Uh have you read Mongrels by Stephen Graham Jones? It's his like
No,
werewolf book.
I love Stephen Graham Jones though, but I haven't read that one yet. I didn't want to read or watch too much new werewolf stuff while I was working on this, but that's going to be a
Mm.
thing I like treat myself to when we're done with this.
Nice. It's
Yeah.
it's it's fascinating. It didn't go the way I thought it was going to. Um that might make sense when you listen to it. I get into like author kicks where I discover an author and then I suddenly want to read every single book that they've ever written. And he's my latest just author obsession. And so they had Mongrels on Spotify, and that's part of whatever package I have through Spotify. And so I was like, cool, I'll take that. Like they don't have that one at my library, so I'll listen to it on Spotify. And it's a good time. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely that makes sense though. Like waiting to not is that like denying that's a good word, denying yourself like new werewolf content, whether it be books or movies, like is that an intentional thing so that you don't lose the focus of your own story as you're working on it?
Yeah, totally. Like I don't want to feel like I'm borrowing too much from these other visions of the werewolves.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I really like about werewolves is I feel like they have less rules than a lot of other paranormal like archetypes. Like vampires have a lot of rules. Like there are
Yeah.
people who like firmly believe, oh, vampires do this and that. There's other monsters too you can think of that have like a lot of rules. Werewolf, it's like one rule. It's like the guy turns into a werewolf on the full moon, and that's really kind of it. There's some stuff about silver, but you can take or leave that, you know. But like
Yeah.
other than that, you can make your werewolf kind of aware of what he's doing. You can make him totally berserk. The way they become a werewolf isn't always like you can kind of do your own thing with it. So yeah, I felt like werewolf's pretty flexible. So I didn't really want to like soak in once I had the idea for turning this priest I had known into a werewolf. I didn't really want other people's werewolves in my head. I wanted
Yeah.
my werewolf in my head, and that was
Is it
it. Yeah.
was it intimidating like one when you were initially thinking about this story of going the route of the werewolf? Were you ever intimidated like there's so many werewolf stories out there? Like how do I make mine feel fresh and new and unique and different and stand apart? Like did you go through that, or were you just like I like werewolves, I'm doing this cuz I think it's badass?
I just barreled into it. Like honestly, like it started as kind of a bit. Like I told a friend, like, you know, it'd be funny, werewolf priest. Like that would be funny. And I like and it became something more serious, like as I worked on it and kind of like put a character based on myself into it and some of these other experiences I had. But at first it was going to be played, it was going to be a short comic and we weren't going to do more, and it was going to be played totally for laughs, kind of like
Mm.
the werewolf priest would be the main character, and I wanted to end it with like a montage of showing future adventures that we would never do. Like there would be like werewolf priest runs for Congress, werewolf priest goes to space. Like we do this montage or whatever. But then like I have this problem when I write comics. They always start with like a bit idea where I'm telling a friend like, you know, it'd be awesome, this ridiculous idea. And then as
Yeah.
soon as I start writing it, I'm like, I should say something important about myself in the world. Like, and so then all of a sudden I have to take these ideas that I love and I'm very excited about and sort of fit them into like real stories, and that's kind of how my writing tends to work. So that's what it was with the werewolf priest. So I didn't even think about like, oh man, there's a lot of werewolf competition out there, because I was like, so like this is so funny. And then by the time I was actually doing it, then I had to start being like, okay, I had to have blinders on. It's just my story.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that totally makes sense. And like I've got a buddy that we grew up together. He now lives in South Carolina. I'm in Ohio. And so like now that my job has changed, not so much, but when I worked from home, like he could call me because he drives, he's an in-home PT. So like he has a lot of driving between patients. And he would call me and we would just run bits by each other and spitball, and like we are the two friends that don't know where lines are with jokes when it's been enough. Like we just
Yeah, yeah,
keep
yeah.
going. And so when he's got a long like 45-50 minute drive, we could take one joke for 50 minutes and just keep getting more and more ridiculous. But then some of those ridiculous bits end up being some of our favorite things that now,
Yeah.
and like we had one where he wanted to get into D&D, and he was like, what could be the most obnoxious like D&D character? And he was like, what if like Serge Tankian, the lead singer from System of a Down, was like a tinkerer class person, and he like built robots, but every time he cast anything or did anything, he sang it and he never
Yeah.
speaks, but it's as System of a Down. And like he's Surge the Tinkerer, and it became this thing that like for a year and a half now, anytime that we're like just needing a stupid laugh, we'll call each other like, hey, I was thinking about Surge, and like immediately and we go right into it. And like
Uh,
we've tried to tell other friends about it, and they're like, you guys are idiots. And we're like, no, but you don't get it. This is so funny. And so it's like, all right, that's fine.
yeah.
It's exclusive for us. I'm totally good with that. And also I want to
Yeah.
write it down and do more with it.
You've built your own lore for this. Like there's
Hmm.
probably hours and hours of lore, and you don't. It's shaped itself. So like people have to catch up on all of that to really get it.
Right. Yeah, because we've been talking about it for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And they're like, in 2 minutes, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. I'm like, right. Well, that's kind of the point. But
But
so,
but also, what if we took it seriously? Like,
yeah, but like
yeah.
think about it. If he was a tinkerer in your D&D campaign and he died, he could like he's transplanted his consciousness into all of these automatons, so they can just come back at any time in the game. It doesn't matter. You can just roll yourself right back into the campaign. And they're like, you can't, that's not how D&D works. That's how Surge works though. That's
It's
the
my
beauty of
character.
it.
My character.
It's in the character sheet, bro. Like that means
Yeah.
it's real. Oh, it's good stuff. So with Macabre Valley, is it all the same creative team from when you did the
Yeah.
initial 8-page short?
Yeah. It's the exact same creative team. Like, I think even if you've never read Death of Comics Bookcase, you can read this issue and not know there was a different short. Like,
Mm,
it's the same creative team, same art, all of it, and it just goes right into what happens the second that last story left off. So like,
awesome.
yeah, it's straight up like, um, and it was like, I don't know, I can't speak for the rest of the team, but before I would write, like, because I wrote the two segments pretty far apart. Before I would write it, I would read those first 8 pages over and over again to like get back in that exact headspace. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, it's the same team. Artist Anna Redmond, colorist Brad Simpson, and letterer Rebecca Carey, and myself writing the script. that's the team for this one.
That's awesome. And you've got, I saw, as I was researching before, as I was reading your social media, um, you've got a
Uh,
black and white only artist edition of the full length story. Is that just because like the artwork is that freaking good?
I mean that, yeah, that's exactly how I would say it. It's like, it came back, and when I got the inks back, I was like, oh my god, like this is awesome. And so I wanted to give people a chance to see that. Like every tier that comes with the artist edition also comes with the regular comic. So like you
Mm,
still get the full comic, but if you're like really into process stuff and inks and art and that sort of thing, we're doing kind of a limited run of them too. Like we're only printing 50 of them, and they're probably
okay.
going to be gone by there's. I think last time I checked, they were down to 15 left.
That's
But
awesome.
yeah, that we're just going to do a limited, and we're going to number them too. So it'll say like one of whatever
Yeah.
number you backed it. But yeah, getting back to your question, the whole idea was like people need to see this. Like
Yeah.
people need to see these inks. And everyone who I've shown the inks to, like everybody's kind of been like, yeah, that's a good idea. Like, you guys are doing the
Yeah.
right thing,
That's
showing this
this.
to the world.
Yeah, this is exactly the reason that the artist editions should exist. Yeah,
Yeah.
the because even looking at, I think there were like 4 pages that you had shared on Blue Sky, um, when you were talking about the artist edition, and like even just those 4 pages, I was like, God, those are good. Like this is so good. Do you did you always have it in your mind that this would be a color story, or like do you write certain stories with certain moods or feelings that are leaning more towards black and white versus color?
That's a great question. So I always, yeah, from the start, I kind of default to like all the comics I do being in color. Like I've never really conceived of one to be in black and white. This would have been a really good one to do it. But
Mm,
I do think like we have a setting like South Texas, which kind of does lend itself to really like westerns. I think in general and
yeah,
horror both can lend themselves to really interesting uses of color. And Brad Simpson, who colored the book, is like a fantastic horror colorist. Like he colors Danny, the artist. She just goes by Danny, and they've done
okay,
these books like Coffin Bound for Image Comics a few years ago, which if you haven't read it is a
yeah,
real trip. Yeah, and they're doing the Universal Monster Invisible Man book right now. Like that's coming out right now,
yeah,
and so like I'd always been a fan of his, and I ran it by Anna when we were first doing the original 8 pages, and she liked his work too. And so we brought him on, and like after we saw him start coloring it, like there was no way we weren't going to do it in color. Like it just adds so much depth to it. But like,
yeah,
yeah, like if you got a werewolf, I like I think we're a little kind of more slapsticky with our gore. Like if we were doing like a more serious, like moody horror take, we could have kept the black and white and that. But
mm,
we go pretty hard with some of the gore, and it's very over the top kind of grindhouse is the
yeah,
word we've been using, like very grimy. And I think you got to do that in color. Like when you have as
yeah,
much gore as we put into some of our monster scenes, like it really plays well with the reds and stuff.
yeah, yeah. There's there's definitely a I don't even know the word that I'm looking for, but that like seeing you going the grindhouse route and knowing that it's just going to be a splatter fest, like
Splatterfest,
having
yeah, that's the perfect word.
having the like super deep crimsons and the bright reds and all of that just all over the place. You know, when it's done, if it's all the time, everywhere, forever, for everything, it can be a bit much for me. Like in the movies, thinking like Terrifier and stuff that, you know,
Yeah,
people
yeah, yeah.
growing up on it. And I watched it and I was like, this is honestly kind of boring. Like, this is the movie that, and then my wife was
Yeah.
like, what is wrong with you? This, I don't know. I don't know. She always like, I can't tell if she's joking or if at this point, after being married to me for 12 years, like she is starting to have concerns about how much I like horror and scary stuff and how it just like people get murdered on screen and I don't get scared. I usually laugh. And like, I just think, you know, a successful kill can be really satisfying. And especially if the person deserves
Yeah,
it, like, yeah,
totally.
stab them through the throat. But like, she sent me something actually like just 2 days ago that said scientists have done studies on people that enjoy horror and that just sleep peacefully after watching a scary movie, and more often than not those people also have a high correlation with with being a psychopath. And
I
she
saw
just like
that. Yeah.
sent the eyes with it looking at it, and I was like, uh, you talking you talking about, is that to me? Do you think I'm a psychopath? Like, I mean,
Are you
maybe,
trying to
but
tell
like,
me something here?
yeah, like just you just got to come out and say it because I don't understand subtext at all. So what are you saying here, babe? Because I don't, it doesn't bother me. Like it never has either, which is weird.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So it wasn't like a you're not desensitized to it. You were always like this,
yeah,
like
I was
before.
always like this. Yeah,
It
I
called to you.
just I the first my first intro to horror was Hitchcock, and it was a double feature of Psycho and The Birds. But
Oh
maybe it was
man,
The Birds
yeah.
first and then Psycho. And it was on like my nana's furniture TV on like a Saturday when Star 64 used to do like their, scary movie Sunday or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
And I just happened to be there for the weekend because it was my dad's weekend with me. And so like I turned on the TV and he came back from something and was like, "What are you watching?" And I was like, it's called Psycho." And I was like 10. And he was like, "What do you think about that, son?" And like instead of, "Oh, you can't watch that," it was like, "Well, I'll sit down," because he started as an English teacher. And so
Yeah.
he had taught like Poe and Lovecraft, and I always had those books in my house anyway. So like I was casually reading Edgar Allan Poe when I
Yeah.
was in like 5th grade because I just liked it. And so maybe that's part of it too.
Was your dad
Um
into the horror as well? Was it like something you guys did together after that, or was he just
it's
kind of
funny, he
like happy
really
you were enjoying
isn't.
high art?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was more the like, my son has an appreciation for literature. And like
Yeah. Well, yeah.
and it
Well, Psycho's like a beloved like film. Like you can call it like a film. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it's like yeah,
yes,
yeah,
it's cinema. If I was
yeah,
on
yeah.
Letterboxd, I would be talking about the cinematography.
Yeah.
To
We
put
we
back
had
on my
a
scarf.
yeah, to get that scarf out again. We had a class in my high school that was called analysis to film.
Okay,
uh, and you would take it, and the whole class was you'd watch half of a movie one class, the next half the next class, and then your assignment was to write about it. It was basically
okay,
like being on Letterboxd to an
yeah,
extent, but like everybody would take this class because you just watched movies. Like it was like the most sought
yeah,
after class in school, you know. But Psycho was one of the movies we watched. Like it was like up there with the Graduate and some of these other like classic films or
okay,
whatever. So I got to
yeah.
watch that as like a junior in high school as an assignment. That's pretty
That's
fun.
awesome. Yeah, I was so my my mom. This is gonna sound really dark. Just hang with me. My mom
I'll follow you to the end.
recently.
Yeah.
So I know I like you, Zach. So my mom like recently had to have her leg amputated, and so she had that, went through the whole thing, and I was spending almost every night with her at the hospital and long term care and stuff like that as she was getting back into therapy. And one of the nights that I was there, she was just channel surfing because we always had the TV on in my house growing up, like always. It didn't matter. It was usually game shows. And then as time passed, then like I started watching stuff like MASH and WKRP in Cincinnati, like big 70s sitcoms and shows.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I still like those still are two of my favorite shows of all time. WKRP is part of why I wanted to get into radio. Surprise. And so we were sitting there and we were just flipping channels and Psycho was on and like on the TV in the hospital. And so she just left it, and she's super deaf. And I have hearing loss from working in radio for over a decade. And so she's got the volume like super loud, and the door is just wide open. It's like 11 o'clock at night. And one of the nurses came in like right before the murder scene. And she was like, "I thought I recognized the score of this movie. And I just had to come in and make sure like you guys are watching Psycho." And we were both like, "Yeah." Yeah, we are. Yeah, it's a great movie. And she was like, "Oh, this is right about when she gets stabbed, isn't it?" And we were like, "Uh huh." She was like, "Do you mind if I?" And we're like, "No, no, no, bring in your chair." So she went out to the nurse's station, wheeled the chair back, and sat down. And the three of us watched the lady get murdered. And then she was like, "This is such a good movie." I was like, "Right? You can't pass it up."
So
Like
good. Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've seen it at this point, but it's so good and it's so effective. And it's the first time that a woman was like murdered on screen and all
I
like
didn't know
so
that.
many,
I
yeah,
didn't know that. Yeah.
like so many firsts of it's also the first time that they showed a partially nude woman showering on screen as well. And they just put them together because Hitchcock is a genius. And like I went through a huge thing where I was like, well, if he was my intro to horror, what else did he do? Like I gotta watch everything. And so I watched everything I could get my hands on of Hitchcock's. And there's some that I was like, I don't need to watch that again. And then there's others that I'm like, this is so effective because I also took in college, being like my degree is in broadcasting. And so I took a class in like studying 70s cinema. And same thing, like we would watch a movie on Tuesday, and then on Thursday, we would turn in a paper that we wrote about it and talk about it. And like every week, it was a different movie. And it was the best freaking class ever because that's all we did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, but it it was letterboxed before letterboxed became a thing, and then suddenly everybody knows what you know all of the industry terms are, and I'm just like, you
Yeah.
don't, that's not what this is, that has nothing to do with what you're talking. But okay, sure, I'll just, so I don't, I blocked letterboxed and
You
everything I
you can
possibly can.
you can suck the fun out of movies pretty easily, like
Really
by
can.
taking them. I don't want to say taking them too seriously, but just being like too turning it into like a sport or something. Like I know the most about these movies, and I'm gonna win movies. Like that's
Yeah.
not really a good way to watch stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna win this movie. And it's like, okay, go ahead, have fun. I don't care. Like whatever. I do care
Yeah.
because I just looked. I'm so glad I write notes. Um because it saves me from just continuing to talk not about anything that you came on to talk about. The
Oh,
your
I don't mind. We're
newsletter.
talking about Psycho. Like like we could keep going.
Fair, super
But
fair.
yeah, we can also talk about my newsletter if you like. Yeah.
So I just you do something that I think is the coolest damn thing with your newsletter, and you commission artists and then include those commissions in the newsletters when you send it out. Like how did you A come up with the like, hey, I want to do this, and then B, like how do you keep it up?
So the idea I straight up stole. I stole this idea from Sebastian of Goats Flying Press. He does it in his newsletter.
Yeah.
He commissions artists to do his mascot, which is a flying goat.
Yep.
And I thought that was a really cool idea. And what I like about it, and the reason I wanted to do it was because as an independent creator, in between Kickstarters, you want to keep reminding people about your old projects. Like we were talking about a little we were talking about this a little bit before we started, that you learn a lot. You just did your first Kickstarter, which congrats.
Thank you.
I backed. I'm very excited to get my copy. Yeah,
Yep.
but
It's on
you
its
learn
way.
so much from doing. Yeah, no, I'm gonna keep an eye out in the mail. But you learn a ton from doing your first campaign, right? And one of the things I learned was that as hard as it is to get people to back your campaign, it's almost harder to get them to read your book. Like because they
Mm,
back it, they want to support you. They're happy to give you their money because they think you're a good guy and they think your project's cool or whatever. But then to actually make the time to read it and then to remember it is really, really hard. Like the number kind of shrinks from your backers. A smaller amount of people read it, an even smaller amount of people remember it. So I wanted to keep my characters fresh from Death of Comics Bookcase last year. We did like 6 new characters in one book. And then also personally, like I just like giving money to artists to do art. Like I just think it's a cool way to spend your money. Like
yeah.
like if I wasn't spending my money on that, I'd be spending it on way dumber stuff. uh, so but once you start doing it, then like it's hard to, like every once in a while I'll see a lot of artists liking my commission posts, and I'll be like, I wonder if so and so's interested in doing one. Like they've
Mhm.
liked all the posts, they keep sharing it, maybe they want to do one, and so I'll reach out and be like, hey, you can say no if you want, but here's all the characters. If you want to do it, like it'd be cool, super cool to do it. I'll pay you for it, and let me know. And so that's how it kind of goes. And I usually have a few of them cooking at once,
That's
and just
awesome.
it's super fun when they come in. Like I've got I've got two of them now, that I'm waiting to, like, because right now it's all werewolves all the time, but I have two of my other
Yeah.
characters from my last book. I have commissions into those, and I'm ready to bust them out when this campaign ends.
That's cool. I was wondering if it was from Sebastian, because I love that he was the first one I think that I saw do that, where I was like, oh shit, that's a
Yeah,
smart idea. Like, how freaking cool is that? You're supporting artists, but you're having them, commission your mascot and do the thing. And so anytime that I have the funds to do like a sketch card or a commission for a Kickstarter, I'll often be like, do whatever your original character is, just punkified. Like, that's what I want. Like, I don't, and so that's now the
oh nice.
thing that,
Yeah,
like, if I have money, I just want to see you do your character, but like with a punk twist, and whatever that means to you, I don't care. But that's what I like doing. And by that, I mean, like, that's when I get money. Now that I have a new job and it pays better, I will be able to hopefully start doing that more. And that'll be great. Cause like, I
that's
just
awesome, man. Yeah,
like,
I, I,
anyone can do, right. Like, I could ask anybody for a Hawkeye or Omega
yeah,
Red or Mr. Sinister, whatever, which are usually my go-to characters for commissions.
uh,
I still want the one that I like would pay a ton of money for is I want a commission done by, I don't even know who, but I want it to be Green Arrow and Hawkeye facing off, because I'm an Archer fan, facing off with all their stupid trick arrows, and just like
yeah, yeah,
everything's a
yeah,
mess around them, where they've just been shooting not real arrows at each other, like the blacks and glove one, and the
yeah,
like little
yeah.
explodey arrow and the gel stick thing. Like, I want the two of them just having it out at each other with
There's just like a
stupid
pile of
arrows.
weirdo arrows
Yeah, like
everywhere.
and there's like goop on the wall from where one exploded, and like a net hanging from a light or something. Like, however the weirdest you can possibly go. That's what I want. Like, I would love to have that as a commission from
That's a
someone. So
fantastic commission idea. That is such a good commission idea. Yeah.
that's that one, and the X-Men as a hockey team are the two that I'm like, that's the X-Men is a much bigger ask.
Yeah.
Because it's the X-Men, and who do you pick as your team and all the things. And that I know that one would cost me like $600, and there's no way I can spend that on art,
Yeah.
even though it would be
So
awesome. So if you can do it for less than 600, anybody out there, let me know. Because I
hit
would
him
love
up. Yeah.
I would love combining the X-Men and hockey. Are
Somebody's
there
gonna reach out to you and be like, "I can do it for $5.95." Like that's gonna be
yeah,
the message you get after this.
you said less than
Uh-huh.
600, low price. Start the telemarketer thing at 2 a.m, like, wheeling and dealing, let's make some art, let me tell you something. God, I hate those people. They're all
It's annoying, man. At least now they just text mostly at this point. You just get these
yeah.
scam texts. Yeah.
Yep,
So.
and I get it, and I usually, like, if I'm feeling froggy, I'll send back some weird emoji, because I know that breaks their algorithm, so they can't,
Oh,
like,
does it?
it
I didn't know
doesn't
that.
it doesn't answer anything, so they can't, like, they'll basically like restate the question or whatever they're trying to do to send it back to you, because it just comes through like in the like ones in binary, like emoji aren't anything. Like, they
Yeah,
don't see
yeah,
the
yeah.
image if it's just a bot. So they just see like the representation of like 2 colons and a and parentheses. And they're
Yeah.
like, that's not a Y or an N.
Sparks
So
flying out of the side of their head all of a
what
sudden.
what yeah, like it It's that. Usually though, I just like block, delete, report junk.
Yeah.
My list of block numbers is stupid in my phone. It's so dumb. And I know that like I used to work in a call center, right? Like they just cycle through numbers. It doesn't matter that you block one, they're going to call you from 17 other ones the same day. But you know, here we are. It's fine. Back to the commission thing though, because like, do you like, do you always send them like, hey, here's my characters, I just want to see your art as like your take on one of my characters? Is that like your go-to
exactly
commission request? Okay.
That's exactly it. It's like, well, first of all, I ask to make sure they're okay doing a not like an original. I call it like, would you do one of my characters? Like, it's not going to be Spider-Man, you know, like, or something you've done before. Like, are you up for that? So I like to establish that first, and then I send them the Death of Comics bookcase, and every once in a while there'll be a specific artist that I'll try to nudge towards the character. I'll be like, I'd really like to see you do this one, but I'm not gonna. If you want to do a different one, that's fine. And they almost always take the nudge, like kind of say like, oh, that's what you want, I'll do that one, you know. But for the most part, I don't know if they like this, but I give them the freedom to pick like any character from the book. Like, I feel like some artists might be like, just tell me what to draw, man. Like, but I like to give them that option. Yeah,
I would think
it depends on personalities, you know.
Yeah, and like so the few times that I've actually like requested commissions from people, I never give them a single character. I'm like, I think it'd be fun to see you do this person or this person. You choose whichever, because if they're more into one of those characters, they're going to put more fun little tricks into it than someone that's like, you know, like, oh, I hate the X-Men. Will you do Cyclops? Like, fine.
Yeah.
Okay, but like someone that loves the X-Men is going to jump all over that. And suddenly like they'll add color for no cost because they just like drawing Cyclops, and no one ever likes Cyclops because he's kind of a douche, but he's also kind of really great. And the more that I've read, the more that I appreciate Cyclops. Like, he used to be bottom of my list of the X-Men. And now he's like top 3 for me because he doesn't get enough credit. Even though he's an idiot and, you know, women and love triangles and all the weird, awkward, uncomfortable, all the things. His dad was Corsair. So like he's got
a lot to deal with.
He was never set up for success. So like, let's just acknowledge that before we do anything. I'm complete. Now I'm thinking about the Starjammers. I would love, let's just talk about the Starjammers if you don't mind.
Yeah. Oh, do it up.
Because
it's so weird because like when you're watching X-Men as a kid, or we're probably about the same age. I watched it as a kid when the animated series came out, you know.
Yeah.
And if you don't know some of that they go to space and stuff, it just starts happening, and you're like, 3 episodes later, you're like, they're deep in space. Like, I don't know how we got here. And that's Cyclops' dad now?
Yeah. This guy that looks like he's maybe 5 years older is the dad.
Yeah.
And his brother Havoc is actually like, looks like he's young enough to be his son, but then the old man is his son, but he's from the future. Like, man, X-Men. I love the weirder the better. Like, if you give me the Brood or give me Mojo, or give me Arcade, great, like give me.
I mean, even Mr. Sinister is super strange. Like, if you his genetics and all that. Like,
just obsessed with the Summers bloodline, and like, I will take some of your blood. Like, you weirdo, what are you doing? And he leads with that. Like, he doesn't. There's no like small subtle steps. It's just straight to like, I'm strapping you against that metal wall.
Well,
and I'm taking your blood.
If you're interested in subtlety at all, you're not going to call yourself Mr. Sinister.
Right.
He's already committed to not being subtle.
Yeah. But yeah, the Starjammers though, like if you put the X-Men in space, I'm gonna love that story every single time. Like,
me too.
And the Starjammers were a team that as a kid I was like, oh, they're different. That's weird. And then as I got further into sci-fi, because that's what my dad used to teach, and he loved poetry and he loved science fiction. And so like we had a ton of like Isaac Asimov and the year's best science fiction collections. And so I read all of it. And so I have always loved, at some point I'm gonna write comics in space. Like I have to,
Yeah.
because it's so much fun. But like you send the X-Men, who are weird enough on Earth, and you send them into space, and then they meet someone like Chad, who's like a lizard reptilian guy,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
he takes orders from this like schmucky ghost dad of Corsair, and it's like, what? Okay, I mean, I guess like that. I guess that
Deadbeat
makes
dad,
sense.
deadbeat
Yeah.
space dad.
Deadbeat space dads. There, see, that's a bit that could definitely become something. I'm gonna write that down, and we're gonna talk about that later.
Yeah,
Deadbeat
we'll
space
brainstorm it.
dads.
That's a comic title. That's
Like that could be so much fun, because how like there's so many different ways that could go too. Of like, are they deadbeat because they abandoned their kid? Like they're like Captain Kirk from Star Trek, where they just have kids on every planet and don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
it? Or like, are they willingly, like Ego, leaving Star-Lord on a planet and just having nothing to do with him until he can benefit you, and then trying to, or are they like, I just lost his name. I had it.
There's also like a hard sci-fi angle where like you have a kid and you're like, oh, but my job's in space and traveling in space doesn't age you on the same timeline. So by the time I get back to Earth, my kid will be older than me, and then like you got to
Yeah.
deal with all his anger, even though he's like older and wiser than you. Like,
Yeah. And for you, it's been a month, and for him, it's
yeah,
been
yeah.
40 years. And he's
You
like,
haven't learned anything in that month. You've been at work, and then you get home and there's like a 40-year-old man who's like, you weren't there for me, Dad.
yeah. Oh, you're my dad? You look like my kid. He just
Yeah,
graduated high school. Like, there's so many ways that could go. That's it started as a joke. We're talking
I'm
about that
telling you,
because
that's how I work on these things.
there's
It always
something
starts
there.
as a joke.
What other jokes spun into stories?
Yeah, well, so in Death of Comics bookcase, the second story is this character. It's really hard to say. It's called the Responsibility. It's a character I co-created with Nick Cagnetti. It's like a Spider-Man take, and it totally started as a joke where I was like, what if you inverted Spider-Man's motto? Like, instead of with great power comes great responsibility. What if when he took on great responsibilities, he got great power? And then I started thinking about that more and more, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do that. Like that's and then that story became a riff about AI, like somehow.
Yeah.
Like it turned into like a riff on AI, and like kind of like AI's bad sort of story. And we're actually like in the process of doing a new story that's about influencers with that same character. So
That's
but
awesome.
that is 100% started as a joke. Like, how dumb would it be to invert Spider-Man's deal? And could you do that? And then by the end of it, it once again had made itself serious because I'm like, AI is bad. Like
Yeah.
that all happened as I was writing it. But and then the one of the stories in my book was also like about a war between sharks and apes, and it became this like complicated thing about my mom. Like so it's like and it started as I was like that one started as like what if Jonathan Hickman did a like 400 chapter epic about sharks fighting apes, was like how that started. And I was like, all right, I'm going to turn that into an 8-page thing that just is like in media res. So it starts in the middle of this war and doesn't end at the end of it. You know, it's
Yeah.
just a sampling. And then by the time I was done with it, it was like about my complex relationship with my mother. So
Jeez.
that's just how writing. This is just how writing works for me. Like it starts funny and then becomes deeply personal. Um, I
I
haven't
mean,
I haven't figured out how not to do that really.
well, like, to that point though, I mean, isn't putting part of yourself into your stories like what great authors do? Is like, it
I
adds
think
that human
so.
element to it.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I've heard Brian Michael Bendis talk about this a lot. That like
Mm,
great writing really gets to like find something honest that you really feel and think about the world. And so like I think that's where this came from because I grew up reading Bendis comics and stuff.
yeah.
When I got into high school, he was like blowing up, and I'd always listen to him read his interviews way back when in like Wizard and stuff. And yeah, and that always stuck with me that like he would talk about how his best comics get to something honest, And so and then the other side of it too is like I like genre comics, like I love like we were talking about, like I love X-Men in space, I love superheroes in this, but I feel like in order to make it my take on genre, I have to like be hyper personal with it. Like so that's
Mm,
like what happens. So like Deadbeat Dads in Space, like I don't know where that would go, but I would be like, no, it's not. I would just keep thinking in my head like this isn't mine yet. Like I need to make
mm,
Dads in Space mine somehow, and I don't never know how that's gonna if it's gonna become how I feel about AI, or it's gonna become a riff on my time in newspapers or whatever. Like it kind of finds
yeah.
its way in later. I don't know if people like it. I'm still figuring that out. Like I think some people do, but I think there's probably maybe 10% of readers that are like, "What the hell? I thought this was about werewolves." Like and what like you dealing with your catharsis from your first job, like you know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I don't know, man. Like I like Jeff Lemire, like he stood out as a creator because he took what seemed on the surface to be one thing and somehow made it completely different. And like that's what he's known for now is the like his intense character work. And like I mean fish flies, right? Like he made a
yeah,
freaking book about fish flies and it's really about someone like finding a parental figure and a role model and like how you can be transformed through the process of just finding the one person that you can give a shit about. And like that book is so freaking complex and weird and not anything I ever expected it to be. I was like, oh, cool. Like he did Sweet Tooth, and that's about like weird hybrids, and now he's got a giant bug thing. And then you read it and
yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
oh gosh, this is way different and like way heavier. And the Underwater Welder is often one of the books that I recommend to people that he
That's a
did
great one. Yeah.
because like there's such a gut punch of like one of his splash pages lives rent free in my brain because it just like when I saw it I was like, oh no, I can't. How do damn it, Jeff Lemire, like why are you doing this to me? And I had to put the book down and walk away from it and come back to it because it was just too it like the thing that he called out of just like what this character was going through because he thought he had to work and take on this crazy high risk job to make the money to support his family and then realizing like that wasn't supporting his family at all, like he needed to be there. I was like, oh god, I'm the underwater welder. Like I went through that with my
Yeah.
daughter
Yeah.
and it just like hit me at all the wrong times to read that book, which probably were all the right times to read that book because then suddenly it was like,
Yeah. It hurts to read it, but it is the right
oh,
time to get that.
yeah. And because it was definitely like oh, I'm not the only one that does that. Okay, cool, cool, cool. I mean, not cool, but like also cool because I'm not the only idiot that misses the point.
You don't feel so
So
alone with it. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and that's such a cliche. I avoid saying stuff that like if I say it and I roll my eyes as I say it, I avoid saying that stuff, but it's true. Like you see yourself in these stories that are like heavy character work and that's what resonates, not the fact that it's an underwater welder or a werewolf or whatever. Like it's the characterization that stands out and similarly with
100%. Yeah.
like, who else? So you mentioned Brian Michael Bendis. Who else would you consider?
Well,
God,
yeah. A big one for me is, have you ever read Flex Mentalo, the Grant Morrison, Frank Quietly
I
It's
haven't
kind of
read
like
it yet.
so I actually go back even before that. Like start with Grant Morrison on Animal Man through Doom
Okay.
Patrol to Flex
Yeah.
Mentalo, that like progression.
Yeah.
Like all those comics have totally comic booky things in them. Like Flex Mentalo is a muscle man,
Yeah.
a forgotten muscle man. There's talking robots. The Animal Man can take on. It starts as like a regular superhero thing where he's just taking on the powers of any animal or whatever. But I think all those comics, those are like the most personal Grant Morrison comics. Like
Mm,
so I think Grant Morrison does it. I even think like Garth Ennis does it. Like I think Preacher to me is like a crazy. I always think of Preacher as like a superhero comic. Like he's got powers, he's got a cast, he's got a rogues gallery and stuff, and he's
yeah.
like a super like macho, fist fight guy from Texas or whatever. But that comic gets really sad. Like the vampire character in Preacher is a
Yeah.
really sad Irishman who's like shitty to his friends. And I'm like, I feel like that's a very personal Garth Ennis story we're getting from
Mm,
within these comics, you know. So I
yeah.
think like and those are the guys I sort of grew up with, like in the late '90s. Like my peak as like a young reader, like going into from junior high to high school was like late '90s, early 2000s. You know,
Yep.
and so like yeah, Bendis, Garth Ennis, Grant Morrison. Like I feel like all those guys did really well with like create like. I mean, Preacher's a comic where a guy gets his junk bitten off by a dog, but but like in one sequence, and then in another sequence, it's like got these deep thoughts about religion, you know. So
Yeah.
like yeah, like comics like that, I think are kind of a roadmap for how to like, and I think a part of it is just working in comics too. Like you want to, and when you're collaborating with artists, you want to give them this crazy over the top stuff to draw, you know? So like around the corner from all your deepest, darkest personal thoughts is shit blowing up.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to have the slow-mo walk away with the
Yeah.
explosions and the nonsense.
Or a sword fight or whatever, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, yeah, you gotta thrill people. Like, if you're gonna be dark and personal, you know, also have some cool shit happening.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
disarms readers of like, oh, I'm looking at a sword fight on a helicopter flying over a building exploding. But like it's about two brothers that never got along and trying to reconcile, and like there's heavy weighty baggage that comes with a failed brotherhood, and like it's I was talking
Those are
this
the
keeps
comics
coming
I
up.
like. Yeah.
Yeah, like trick me into feeling something. That's
Yeah,
what I,
yeah, yeah. Like
that's what
it's
I
yeah,
want.
like give me the medicine with my dessert, you know?
Yeah, make sure it tastes like cherry, please.
Uh-huh.
Definitely not orange because only monsters like orange medicine. But this keeps coming up where talking about genre and using genre to hide like moralistic ideas or feelings or messages or whatever, because it's easier, right, to look at the X-Men in space and say, oh well, they shouldn't go to that alien planet and tell those aliens how to live their lives. Like, that's what are they doing? You can't do that to an alien race that's already thriving. And it's like, it's not about aliens or mutants at all. Like, it's about a government like coming in and dictating what the people that are getting along just fine are doing on their own. And like it's the foil metaphor, whatever you want to call it, that is like, oh, I thought this was just about the X-Men in space.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to have fun with reading about Lilandra and and Guardian, because so like, come on, he's the most powerful dude there is. Like, what are we even
And
doing
he's
right
got
now?
a sick mohawk. So
And he's got a sick purple mohawk. Like, let's go, dude.
you know,
And yeah,
I think most of these comics, even when they get serious, you can just read for that stuff. Like if you really don't want to engage with some of the heavier, darker stuff, you can get past it and go right to the next sword fight. You know, like
yeah,
and I think you start like that as a kid. Like you're like, oh yeah, sword fights, and like, well, you don't really understand what's happening with
yeah.
the bigger ideas. Like you don't think about the politics or the emotions or whatever. You just want to see the stuff blow up. And then as
Mhm.
you get older, you can't help but think about it a little bit and a little bit more and a little bit more, and then you're like waiting for the next big idea rather than the next big explosion. You go on a
Yeah.
little journey with it. You know?
Yeah, that's like, and all of that is the power of comics. Like, what other medium? I mean, I guess movies kind of, but like, I don't feel like it's as powerful in movies as it can be in comics when comics are done well.
Yeah,
Of like,
it's harder, I think, because with movies and even with animation, like with movies, you're looking at real people, right? So it's
yeah,
harder to totally lose yourself in it and get what you want from it. I feel
yeah,
like with comics, like it's just something with the art and the you know, it's in Scott McCloud's book, the Understanding Comics. Like he talks about how like a human face, it's harder to project yourself into necessarily because you're like, that's a different guy. But when you look
yeah,
at a cartoon, it's easier because it's not a guy, it's a cartoon, and then you can project yourself into it and it hits you harder or something, you know. But yeah,
yeah.
yeah, comics is unique, I think, in that way, or it does it better. Yeah.
And speaking of like projecting yourself into characters, do you read Nightwing, like this most recent run? Because the holy shit, they're doing insane stuff with that book,
Night
that
Might, is
title.
that the
Like, yeah, they had Night Might, which is one of my favorite. And honestly, I kind of feel like it's a ripoff of Bloodsquirt from Valiant. Because Bloodshot had
uh,
his mental little crazy person, Bloodsquirt, like 2015. I'm sure some pretentious scarf wearing dude somewhere is like, oh, actually, it was 2017. But whatever. Like I love both of
a
them. So
while
who
ago.
cares?
You could say a while ago. Yeah.
He's been there for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
But yeah, like with Night Might but they did the like first person perspective issue where the reader saw everything as Nightwing saw it. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
see like the reflection of him and Batgirl in like a glass building as they're swinging through the skyline and like all of the things. And it just was like, God, this is dope. Like this is so cool. And I know movies like Hardcore Henry exist where the cameraman actor is the one that you're seeing his perspective. So it's like Doom where you just see the hands
Yeah,
as you're
yeah.
running through and
Third
shooting everything.
person video game. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it, and that's super fun too. But there's something about it just hadn't been done that I know of in comics. And they like, I love a good wordless issue too. Like, give me a silent issue for a reason. Don't just do like the early 2000s sitcoms where everybody had a musical episode. Some of them are good,
Yeah,
but like,
yeah, yeah. I forgot about those.
right? Like everybody did it. And it was like, what the hell? Why
Yeah.
is everyone doing this? Oh, because
I think it's
Glee
because
blew
Glee was
up.
popular. Yeah, yeah. Glee started all these people, and I think a lot of sitcom actors can sing. Like a lot of
Yeah.
them, a lot of actors have a singing background, and they all want to like, well, these people are singing on that show. I want to sing, you know. So it
Yep.
spread
I
like
can flex
wildfire through every
too.
sitcom.
Yeah, I like a good themed episode, issue, whatever. Like my wife loves Supernatural. Scratch that. My wife loves Jensen Ackles, who also happens to be in Supernatural. And so she's watched that whole show like 74 times, whatever, in like 2 years. She discovered it late. But the only episode I've seen is the Scooby-Doo episode where they like go into the cartoon and I love it. I'm like, all right, if the whole show can pull this off, like, all right. And shows like Community where they did the whole episode where they were in a
Community,
video
yeah.
game, like, and they had the musical episode, but
Community has like multiple episodes where they've
yeah,
done conceptual stuff like that. Yeah.
I'm a sucker for that stuff of like it's breaking the normal so it gets your attention right off the bat. Like as soon as you turn it on and the intro or whatever is in like 8-bit, like you're playing Mario, I was like, what the hell? And then you realize it's the characters and then they're talking to each other. Oh my God, are they stuck in a video game? Is this whole thing a video game? And it is. And it's just like, okay, cool. I'm here for it. Go for it. Take it. I would love
Yeah,
to
they got that
see.
hook, super effective hook.
Yeah,
Because you
like
just kind of want to see where the little video game's going, but then it's all the characters and it's a fun story, and yeah, can't turn it
is
off.
is there any sort of hook like that you've thought about doing? And I know that this is it took us a while to get to this point. So maybe you've never thought of it, but maybe you have. Is there something like that you're like, I would love to do a book like
Yeah. Uh, I feel like I've dabbled a little bit with metafiction, like just a little bit. Like in Death of Comics bookcase, I had a couple stories, and what I learned really quick was it's hard, man. Like
yeah,
that kind of stuff is super hard. Like you have to like sort of you have to be able to create such a thorough picture of whatever you're imitating. Like if it's a video game, like you have to
yeah,
think of every little video game detail, and they all have to be right and moving in the same direction, or else the reader is gonna be like, "This is dumb." Like I think it's like a high wire act to an extent. Like I think uh, when people nail it, it's amazing. Like we were saying, Community did it with several different types of episodes. But like, yeah, if you get some of those little stuff wrong, but I'd love to do that. I feel like I need to work up to it. That's kind of what I learned from early
mm,
dabbling with some of this meta stuff a little bit. Like a little bit goes a long way when you're first kind of like messing with that. And I
yeah,
think it's telling too because like that wasn't the first issue that Team of Nightwing did, right? Like it
yeah.
came deep in the run. Like they had to work up to that and build to it, like um
Yeah, it
so
was like 107 or something. Like it was
yeah.
post the big 100 like quadruple size issue that I spent $12.99 on or whatever it was. That
So
was
much.
great.
Yeah,
It
they'd
was
already
great.
won an Eisner for that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But they'd already won an Eisner, and they'd had a long established run that people liked, and then they took the big risks, you know. So like for me as an indie creator, like I'm working up to it, put it that way. I feel like I'm working up to something like that, you know.
Yeah.
Trying to earn my way to doing it.
And also though, like, do you feel like you do have to earn your way to be able to do that? Or as a creator, like, because oftentimes when I'm trying to tell my non-comic book friends about indie comics and like why it's better, in my opinion, than mainstream stuff a lot of the times, because there's risks that get to be taken and bigger swings that get to be had. Like, do you feel like that's something that you do have to work up to? Or like, why wouldn't you just take that risk and swing? Is it because of the like actual risk involved of like, this isn't going to land?
No, no, no. I'm not. It's not so much that. I just feel like personally, like I gotta get. I need more reps. You know what I mean? Like to use that term. Like I need more reps before I can take that big swing. Like I guess. But no, you're right. Like that is one of the things. Like when you're doing indie comics, you don't have like the benefit to you control everything. You have a smaller audience, but the benefit is it's lower stakes. Like you can take
Yeah.
that big risk. Like I could do whatever I want, and if it doesn't land, I just do my next project. You know what I mean? Like there's not gonna be people flaming me online. Like what am I, a million years old, flaming me online? Like people don't say that. People don't say that anymore. But but there won't be angry superhero fans yelling at me because I did something that didn't work the way they wanted it to. Like in the indie space, I can do that. But I like for me, like to hold my personal standards, I don't feel like I'm entirely ready to do like a 30-page conceptual like first person comic or something, you know. And I also think it would be a really tough sell to one of my collaborators to be like, so I'm on my like fourth major comic and let's do this. I'd be like, this guy's nuts. Like,
Yeah. I really like drawing that character. Now I don't get to draw that character at all.
Yeah.
What the hell, man? Are there damn it, I had something and now I'm just thinking of the artist being frustrated of like, I can only draw his hands the whole time.
Yeah. I feel like it almost has to be partially the artist idea for you to ask them to do that. Like, you know, like they have to be super on board, you know. Like I think that's the thing I'm hypersensitive about. Is trying to make sure the artist is also having a good time. It's like you were saying with your commissions, right? Like you give them the multiple ideas because you want the joy, like you want them to have a good time, and that like shows up in the work, you know. So like, I wouldn't want to be like everything has to look like a video game if they're like not down for that. Like that just feels mean.
They're like, I don't even
like you have to draw the pixels, you know. Yeah, like I don't like video games. I didn't ask to be part of a video game.
I'm a TTRPG player, so what are you talking about video games? Like the controller? What do we need? What are we doing here?
The visuals are in my mind.
Don't you wish you could do the Vulcan mind meld? To come back to Star Trek, because like if you've got the idea as you're writing, because I experienced this and I'm trying to let it go. But it doesn't work because sometimes when I'm writing stuff, I have a very specific, like hyper specific vision. And maybe it's just because it was it was a more personal story to me that I was writing. It hasn't happened. It lives in a Google Drive. Nothing has happened with it, but I had such a specific visual, like I had page layouts, I had panel counts, I had perspectives for almost everything. Like I could see the whole thing. I just don't have the skill to do the whole thing. And now I'm like, F it. I'm just going to do the whole thing myself. Like I should have just done it to begin with. But I know that if I found an artist that was willing, like to do the thing, like it's based on indigenous folklore, like for the tribe that I'm a part of. And so like, I wanted to also be like a fully indigenous creative team just to have that thing, right? Like I want that authenticity.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I struggle with like, I have a because I've done all of the research and I did all of I wanted to make sure that everything was accurate to the original tales and all of those things. And so I have a very specific vision for what I want. But then when I try, like I've tried to workshop it with a couple people and they're like, yo, this is a lot. Like is this like wiggle roomable, or it's like, no, I like this.
It has to be this way.
I gave you everything you like. I just want you to draw the thing that I gave you. And every time it's like, yeah, I'll kick some stuff around and see what happens. And they just like,
Yeah, you never.
and so like, that's why it still lives in a Google Drive. When you're all that to say, when you're like writing, especially characters that you've created or that like you've run as a bit and you have a good feel for what they are, do you have that hyper specific thing? Or like, what's it like working with a collaborator who doesn't play video games, but you want to do a video game issue? Like, how do you find that balance?
That's a good question. I start thinking of the artist pretty early on in the process. I think the very first Werewolf Priest comic I wrote, out of all the stories that were the 6 stories that were in Death of Comics bookcase, that one I kind of wrote in a vacuum, like I didn't know who was going to draw it until it was done. But for all the other comics I did in that book, I kind of knew who my first choice to draw it would be before it was done.
Okay.
And so, and then at a certain point, once I start thinking of the artist, I try to like get a list of like who would be my first choice, who would be second or third or whatever, and kind of immerse myself in their work while I'm still writing it. Like I'll start reading their old comics, start looking at their Instagram and stuff, and like kind of write to that idea, and then hope that they kind of see the same thing I do with it, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's worked really well, like kind of doing that, like kind of starting to think of the artist before the story's done, and thinking what they might like to draw and if it's a good fit. Like I haven't had, if anyone has disliked drawing the script I've sent them, I haven't heard it yet, so that's nice. They've kept to themselves.
Yeah.
But more times than not, I feel like I can tell like they had a good time with it. I would never ask like Anna, who drew the horror comic, I would never ask her to draw deadbeat dads in space, you know. Like I knew she wouldn't want to draw space, you know.
Yeah. I see.
And then
if
I
you just
think
talk
like,
about that enough, it's gonna happen.
yeah, kind of speaking into existence. But one of the cool things about doing a short comic with an artist before you kind of do the full script or kind of expand it is you kind of see what they seem to like to draw and what they did well and how they approached it, you know. And then you have that in your head when you go back to write more of it. But I haven't had the idea like you did that like has to be done the exact way yet. You know what I mean? Like there are some things that I try to like subtly put as non-negotiable in scripts. Like I'll never say that. Like I would never write like this has to be done this way, you know. But I will try to be subtle about it. Like, be like, this is important because it's going to come up later, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah. It's I love asking that of writers and of artists, because there's no one way for anything, right? Like Walking Dead was literally just like a sentence of what happens on the page, and then the artist took it and ran with it, and it was just like, how is that writing? Like for me, I'm like, that's what you did. Like, that's it. You just write a sentence of like, yeah, on this page. And so like, sorry, Chris, but I'm going to try and do that. This next chapter, he's frequently on and we have the same brain in a lot of things, to where like Instagram thinks that we're the same person a lot of times and gives us the exact same ads. And so we'll send to each other. And he's like, I just saw that. I'm like, I just sent that to you via text. And he's like, what the hell? But like, this is,
you're on the same algorithm.
Yeah. yeah. We're both named Chris. We both live in states that start with O. So we're the same
and the
person.
Punk thing.
And the punk thing. Like, yeah, all of the things. But it's that kind of, I think also just because it's like we've got the ash can that we've done, and like that's all I've got to my name right now. So for me, I kind of feel the opposite that you do, where I'm like, let's just try everything and see what works. And if writing theme stuff or writing super minimal scripts works. Like the first one, we very much did the Marvel way, to where like we don't credit, oh, I'm the writer and he's the artist. Like, no, we just co-created it
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we would literally get on FaceTime. I would be typing in a Google Doc. He would be doing thumbnails on Bristol board. And like, okay, we were talking about this and like that kind of triggered this. And this is where I came up with it. And he was like, cool. These are the thumbnails that I worked out. And so like, this is, and I'm like, cool, cool, cool. And if I had notes with the artwork, I gave him. If he had notes with the writing, like he gave it. And so it was very much that. And I love that process. Like it works great for us. And also like, I want to be the kid in the candy shop that's like, what's it like working with you? And what's it like working with you? And don't worry,
Yeah,
Chris
yeah.
and I've
No,
talked
yeah.
about it. He knows that he also wants to cheat on me with other writers and I want to cheat on him with other art. Like it's a mutual open relationship. But like, I just want to try because I love comics. Like I just
Yeah, man.
freaking love
Yeah,
comics, right? And like I want to do all of them. I want to do a space story. I want to
I'm with
do
you. Yeah.
like severe, like just weird, gross horror stuff. I don't want to do a rom-com because I don't care. But like I want to do the heavy, I would love to do a noir piece of like give me
Yeah,
a
yeah.
time, give me a time period and like let me tell some weird, gritty, like 1920s gangster thing. Like I just think that would be cool. I want to do a historical piece. I don't want to do a biographical thing because there's too much pressure there. But like a biography on a fake
Uh,
person, sure, I'll do that.
that's a
Like the
great
Big Fish
idea.
movie,
Yeah.
right? Like I'll do
Yeah, yeah.
that. But so like I just want to throw Jello at the wall and see like what
I
works and
mean,
what sticks and what doesn't,
that's
whatever.
that's what I feel like I did with Death Comics bookcase, and I'm doing a second round of those because I liked it so much, and I'm like that doing a collection of stories that I wrote like in those short hits, like they were 7 to 10 pages. Let me do exactly what you described. Like that book had horror, it had superheroes, it had
Yeah.
fantasy, and it had like a weird neighborhood crime story. And so I'm doing another round of those because I liked it so much. And it's a harder sell. Like when you have Macabre Valley has been easier to pitch and like sell to
Mm.
people because they're like, "What's it about?" And it's one thing. But with Death of Comics bookcase, to be like, "What is it?" I'm like, "It's 6 things," and they're like, "What?" Like,
Why?
and a lot of people were like, "What's a comics bookcase?" And I was like, "It's a website I used to have, but also it's a bookcase in the book." Like,
Yeah.
so that
And
was
it's
it was kind of
sentient. Come
strange.
on.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you had
But I'm
anybody
gonna
do a
do it again.
commission of the bookcase?
I had one. So I was waiting patiently. I was hoping, I didn't tell anybody, but I was secretly hoping someone would elect to do the bookcase. And when 6 or 7 artists went by and nobody picked to do the bookcase, I reached out to Luke Horseman, who drew my fantasy comic, and I was like, "Will you
Okay.
do the bookcase?" Because he loves to draw. I don't know if he loves it, but he does draw a lot of tentacles. And I was
Mm.
like, "All right, this seems like a good fit." He's a monster artist. Bookcase has tentacles, kind of. He has a big waggy tongue, and
Yeah.
he was down, and he did a great job with the bookcase. But no one has voluntarily yet picked the bookcase. Still waiting for that person to come along. But
So now we've thrown out I want archers with splody arrows and trick stuff, and you want your tentacle bookcase.
uh,
That's commission.
well, Luke drew it. He did it because I asked him to. He wasn't
Yeah.
like it wasn't his idea. And like
Yeah.
the regular artist who co-created with me, Ryan Lee, like he does an amazing job. And like before I even really got too far down the line with doing Death of Comics Bookcase Volume 2, I had to make sure he would come back and do it because it's like I don't know who else would. This is a bookcase that has to move around and do a lot of stuff. Like it's
Yeah.
it's specific, like he co-created it and knows how the bookcase moves and did a lot of stuff with its like mobility. I don't know who else would be down to do that. It's a big
Yeah.
ask. Like, will you draw a big wacky mutant bookcase that kind of hates itself? So
Yeah. A self-loathing, like child chasing. Yeah. Yeah. That's fine.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. It was like, what if the chair in Pee Wee's Playhouse was like a self-loathing writer? Is kind of the concept of that bookcase. You know.
I forget, I feel so bad. That was like 7 different thoughts all at the same time. So this came up on one of my streams about someone talking about their book getting funded, and the whole show had been running a bit about like anytime we say this specific thing, it's like the Pee-wee's Playhouse like secret word of the day, and everybody, "Ah!"
Oh
And
yeah.
whoever it was just like was laughing so much. I was like, dude, when you fund your book, I'm gonna FaceTime you and just be that like happy chair. And I forget who it was. And
Oh no.
I know that the book funded because almost all the books that I've had, like I specifically remember the episodes with the people that didn't fund, and because those are far more infrequent. So, and I'm not by any
Yeah.
means taking full credit for funding all of these
You
books because
should.
it's,
You should.
creators doing badass things.
Yeah.
But
You should take
I
some
feel
credit.
so bad because I wanted to face on, and every time that I don't know why my brain goes back to that as the like shame thought at 2 a.m. when I should be sleeping. It's like, you remember that time? Do you remember that time you were gonna do the chair? And I'm like, yeah, I know. And I forget who it was. So whoever it was, will you join me in doing the Pee-wee's Playhouse freak out like word of the day thing?
Yeah, I'll
for the
shout. I
random
can't.
person?
I heard you do the voice pretty well there. I can't promise I'll do the voice that well. But
That's all right. There was like the mailbox that was like, yeah, just very. It was the guy that didn't want to be at work voicing the mailbox. To whoever that
that's more
was,
my speed. Yeah, I can do that.
perfect. To whoever that was, your book funded, and so at long last, here's your reaction. Ah, you found out!
Ah!
Perfect. That's all I
You're
needed.
welcome,
Actually,
whoever you are. Yeah.
whoever
I
you
hope
were,
I hope it finds its way to this person. Yeah.
I'm so glad that I finally got that payoff. Months, I don't even know. I don't know if it was last year. I don't know if it was this year. Time is a construct, man. I don't remember any of this stuff. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because then I start questioning life and what really is life. What is money other than numbers? And so I find weird spots in my brain sometimes, and I'm like, I'm gonna just put that back. Just put that back in and move on to this. I don't have any more official notes, but I have 2 more things that I want to do. The first is we're going to pose and I'm going to take a screenshot and use that as the YouTube thumbnail forever. So mainly because it makes my life easier, but also like
All right, let
posing
me
can
sit
be
up
fun
straight.
too, right?
I've been really
Yeah,
slumping in my chair. I'll sit up
practice
here.
your posture, sir. Clearly, you didn't go to a Catholic
Yeah.
grade school like I did.
I did go to Catholic grade school, actually. Funny that you mentioned
you?
that, but I didn't. Yeah, we didn't have posture lessons.
Oh yeah, we used to. The nuns used to come around with a ruler, and if we weren't sitting up straight, they would hit the back of our chair, and if that
We
didn't
didn't
get us to
have.
sit up, they would whack us on the shoulder.
We had no nuns. We did not have any nuns. So
What?
must be. Yeah, there was one when I was in kindergarten, and then all the nuns left. So I was at a Catholic school with no nuns.
Even the nuns were like too strict. We're out. I don't want to deal with these kids. That Zack kid. I
Yeah.
don't. Who initials with ZQ? Get out of here! I can't do anything fun on the wall. All right, let's pose. I've got this here, and we will go 3, 2, 1. Took several. Cool. The other thing, I don't know why. Also, like every time I do that, I feel like I need to sing. I'm not a singer, by the way, but it happens. The other thing that I wanted to do, this is the thing that I warned you about that you've been secretly thinking and stewing on this whole time that we've been talking for, holy shit, an hour and 23 minutes, is I love doing this show because I get to talk to rad creators that have all different walks of life, all different experiences, and yet we all share the similarity of loving comic books as a medium, as a hobby, as a way to just express really deep, dark emotions in really fun ways, like putting werewolves as priests. And then exploring what that means. So as part of that just celebration that, hey, we're all different, but we're all the same, I like letting creators at the end of every episode have some space to just share whatever it is that they want to share with people directly. So whatever your message is, it could be a sales pitch for backing Macabre. Valley, excuse me, it could be like why Pee-wee's Playhouse is the best child's show of all time. I don't know. The content for me doesn't matter at all. I just want to make sure that you've got some space to share whatever message you want people to hear from you. So that time is now, friend.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give a hard Macabre Valley sales pitch. Like, I feel like we talked about it enough. People can go search it on Kickstarter and check it out if they like it. I was thinking about this from when you told me at the beginning of the show, and I'd love to know how most people use it. Like, if it's common to say something like this, and I don't want to sound corny, but I just feel like if you're feeling down right now, like rough year, everything's kind of bothering you, that like get lost in art, like making it, supporting it, doing it with friends in particular, I find to be a really good way to cheer myself up with everything going on. There's never been a better time, in my opinion, to get lost in art, to be a patron of the arts, to be an artist, to just be a supportive art friend. So that's what I wanted to use this time to say.
I like it. And
Yeah.
it's pretty common actually this year. Surprisingly enough, it's weird.
Must be
how
something
that
going
works
on in the
out.
world. I don't know.
I wouldn't know. I live my life like an ostrich, and I just bury my head in the sand, and only come up for pizza and beer, and then I bury it again. And
Yeah.
that's,
But I'm talking about like if AI is bothering you and stuff, like art,
yeah.
like if you're worried about it, art's an incredible remedy to that, all these stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I read on one of the social platforms, again I don't remember, because details don't matter to me usually for things, but I read that every act of creation is an act of micro rebellion, and I just like, I love that. And in a time that it feels so easy to rebel, as someone who, like me, who I'm generally an anarchist and I just don't believe in ruling anything, and I don't want other people to tell me how to live my life. It feels like the best time to rebel. And if that like, I'm not a physical violent person, I would never be on the front lines. I'm not going to go out and get tear gassed because that's not me, but I will create something. It might not be polished and perfect like AI can produce, um but it's from me, and like that's what matters right now, is that it's from
Exactly. Yeah.
you.
You get it. Yeah.
Yeah, like it. I told some people, like they're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do this thing with AI and whatever," and I was like, "Why?" Like, I'm sorry to call you out on. And I know this is your thing, but like, why? Well, because it looks like, what, we can't do that. I mean, it doesn't matter. You should do it anyway. Like,
You should
don't.
do it the way you can do it.
Yeah, like, and that's one of the messages that I've learned this year because of Chris, of like, I forever was like, I just do stupid little sky. I don't do art. Like, I'm a stupid, I'm a doodler, and like, that's it. And he was like, dude, you have to stop doing that. Like, you are making art, and that is your style. If your style is sketchy and rough and like graffiti almost at like, that's your style. Like,
Lean into it.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Embrace
lean
it. Yeah.
into the thing. Quit trying to be Jim Lee. Like, you're not Jim Lee. You're never going to be Jim Lee. So don't try and be Jim Lee. And it was just like, hearing someone else say that was just the like break that I needed, of like, you're right. I'm never going to be Jim Lee. Like, I can realize that when I'm playing Frisbee golf, like, I'm never going to be a pro at Frisbee golf. So why am I pretending like I am? Just go throw
You're
Frisbee
still
and
gonna
have
have fun
fun.
doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, like, who cares? And so I have been trying to approach doing artwork that same way, like with that same almost flippant, like, whatever, I'm just gonna have fun. I'm gonna draw what I have fun drawing. And if that's skulls and anarchy symbols and using Sharpies, like, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. So all that to say, it's freeing when you lean in. And so if you're unsure, lean in anyway and make the thing. And if you don't want to share it publicly, but you want somebody to
You
see
don't
it,
have to. Yeah.
yeah, like, have someone. Where did I hear that? Someone said you should have a really bad sketchbook. I think it was at a panel that I moderated last weekend. Shout out to 5 Star Comic Con. They, like, the artist was saying, every artist needs to have a really bad sketchbook that no one ever sees, Like, it's not for anybody else. It's just for you to doodle and have fun and experiment and make weird art, and don't show anybody, because that's not the point of art. Like, make art to make art for art's sake, not for the sake of likes or clicks or whatever. Like, don't do it for them, do it for you. And it's, as someone who started leaning into that idea of art and that approach to art, it's so much better.
Yeah, it's like liberating. You're free now.
Yeah, I'm having so much more fun creating, because now I'm just like, whatever, like, I like it, so okay. And if I don't, all right, I just crumple it up, throw it away, and I move on. I don't dwell on it.
Yeah.
So I love that that's the route that you went, because it sent me clearly I have feelings on these things. So but I don't have any more notes, and I also need to go to the bathroom, so I am going to end the pod here. Dude, Zach, I had a blast
This was
talking with
so
you.
fun. Yeah, thank you so much, Chris. Like, I really appreciate it.
Thanks for hanging with my ADHD brain, just going everywhere all the time. I don't know why I was so
Keeps
unhinged.
things interesting. Yeah,
Right?
I also have ADHD, so I'm right there with you. Like, great idea. Let's talk about space.
That's so good. So if you made it this long, thanks for hanging out. Maybe follow the channel, because I'm like this all the time. And it's great when I have other creators that match pace and keep up and bring their own energy, which every creator does. And Zach, you did splendidly with. So thank you. Thanks for sharing all of the things and keeping up with me. Hang tight. I got logistics for you. But for everybody else, it's time for the tagline. Go do what's good for you, punks, and read some indie comics, because we are out of here.